Oh, so welcome to another mini interview, Living the Legend, where we speak to women in our community about their color of woman journey to becoming a certified intentional creativity teacher. I am Milagros Soriano Rivera, and I am standing on the land of the Humanos and the Tonkawa people of San Antonio, Texas. I am a Color of Woman intentional creativity teacher as well as guild member, and I am pleased to be here today with the lovely Marianne Matthys, who is one of our very own. And I love this because Marianne is usually in the background. She has supported this community so amazingly with the tech support and running our Zoom calls. And it's really a pleasure to see you from behind the camera to be in front of the camera. So, Marianne, thank you for joining us. And with that, I would love to invite you to please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
All right. I'm Marianne Matthys, and I am a 2014 Color of Woman graduate and a guild member, and just love being a MUSEA team member. And I often am Zoom hosting, as Milagros mentioned, and it's just a real joy to be a part of that team. And I just am just so happy to be here today.
Oh, we are so happy to have you. I really enjoyed our talk before just to prep here so we can bring this lovely offering to our community and witness you. Um, I definitely want to invite everyone to sit and be where they are and just enjoy this. I'm extending this red thread to hold us, to connect us, and know that we are here together and just gonna have a great time. Oh, yes. Always connected. I love that. And that's my favorite part about being an intentional creativity teacher and being in this community is our connection and how this thread just extends through so much, through the cosmos and through the quantum. And here we are together.
Yes.
So, Marianne, I want to start off by asking you what called you to Color of Woman?
Well, I was thinking about this as I was just preparing for today. And I remember in 2012 and 2013, just discovering Shiloh and seeing just her energy and just something just awakened within me. And it was just like, I was like, I want what she has. I'm like, I want that. And so, at the end of 2013, I did my first legend painting, which was the very first really large 30 by 40 painting I had ever painted in my life. First face that I had ever painted.
Mhm.
And then started Color of Woman and just that amazing journey through 2014
Mm.
and just traveled that alchemical compass and loved every minute of it.
Oh, that sounds really awesome. And I know Shiloh has that effect. I fell in love with her from the first time I saw her taking another class, and then a year
Mhm.
later, I'm actually in Sonoma,
Yes.
and it was just so awesome.
And
Um,
the thing is, she really is as wonderful as she seems on
yes,
all the
yes.
videos. She really is that wonderful.
You took the words out of my mouth. I told, sometimes you have this impression of people when you meet them on screen, and when you meet them in person, they're just so real and authentic, and she gives from her heart. And I'm
Mhm.
ever grateful for what she's created here and the opportunity she's given all of us to step
Yes,
into our wonder and our strengths and our just amazingness, and for us to be able to pass it on to others.
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned the alchemical compass, and I want to hear your take on it, like the journey. How did you what was that for you, like that concept of being on a compass and taking a journey around the compass and starting at the center at legend? What excited you about that?
It was just totally amazing. The whole legend experience opened me up and really began an awakening process for me. And of course, Leslie Nolan and Annette Wagner were our art doctors. And as my legend formed, there were all of these orbs that came in, and Leslie was like, "Oh, you've got to meet Karen McLeod." And sure enough, that next year I did meet Karen and just joined in with Red Madonna, and have ended up being on staff with Red Madonna the last 7 years. It's been amazing. But as I traveled that compass, when I went into the muse, there was a point in that painting where the face formed, and it was like I looked at that painting and I was like, I'm really an artist. I mean, I really am, and my son looked at it and he was like, Mom, that's really cool. And so it was so amazing. And then moving into Talisman, mine is Talis Woman Generations, and there was so much healing that went into that, just healing of things all the way back to childhood, and that really transformed a lot in me. And Shiloh talks about being healed enough to go out and do the work with other people, and that happened during that painting. And it's interesting because part of that image, one thing I notice is that there are parts of my Color of Woman paintings that are still coming to fruition now. Because in that Taliswoman painting, there are women gathered around this beautiful soul. And it's like all the generations of women. And, in Red Madonna this year, we're entering the forest of grandmothers. And it's like those were the grandmothers all the way back in 2014 that are now coming into the work I'm doing in the world. So it just continues. And then Soulfire is the image that's behind me. And, she is all about alchemical consciousness. And I am a very spiritual person, and I'm one that walks between the worlds and loves the fluidity of that consciousness. And so when she came in, and the phoenix along with her, that sense of just burning up those things that no longer serve me so that I could go out and do the work in the world. And so it was just amazing. And then, of course, that last painting, the visionary, when I was just ready to go out and do the work, and I did, and it's been amazing.
Oh my gosh, that is just awesome. Like, yeah, I remember my journey, and I love it that each of us is doing our work, even though all of the women are, on the same path, but we're all creating our own content and body of work through this journey. And no two paintings are alike, because no two women are alike, no two experiences are alike. And it's just awesome to see our souls on canvas, and then it's not even seen as like when we're going through the process, right? You don't realize it. You step back, you're like, did I just paint that? And you look at yourself and you just like, you didn't know that was in you. And it's just such a beautiful thing. I look at her and I feel you. I feel just the beauty of you. And just, I love her eyes and that heart coming out. It's just such a beautiful, the phoenix. Yes, the phoenix. We have to burn a lot and put a lot to the fire. And that's what the alchemist journey is about. What are we bringing to, that no longer serves us, and just what do we want to use to spark, our own soul fire and reignite that.
Yeah.
Is there any place in particular in your life that being a Color of Woman teacher has transformed?
I would say it's transformed all of my life. But I know within our MUSEA team, I'm usually the one doing the tech support, but in my own life, I'm usually the one teaching and out in front. And I have, once I became a Color of Woman teacher, I have taught workshops from Texas to Colorado to Wisconsin and Iowa and back. And two of my students went on to become Color of Woman teachers, which means a lot to me because that lineage and legacy of intentional creativity is really important to me. And so to be a small part of that continuing has been wonderful. And then I work with really all ages. That maiden mother crone thing for me is, that feminine is very prominent, and I work with all ages. And several summers, I worked with teenagers and used intentional creativity. And that was fun because there were guys as well. So it's just,
Yes.
it's been an amazing journey, and it just continues. When the pandemic became a factor and traveling was not so easy anymore, I formed a process called Blessing Book and have a community online, and met most weeks during the pandemic and used intentional creativity processes to cultivate resilience and hope, and of course with love at the center of all of it. And I think it really did make a difference for a lot of people, at least that's what they're emailing and calling and telling me. So it's been amazing, and it's always changing
Mm-hmm.
and always growing, and it's just an incredible process. And I tell people that for me, intentional creativity is like breathing. It's that important to me. It's really a part of everything I do. And it's a wonderful transformative way of being in the world in
Mm.
total authenticity.
Authenticity, yes. We definitely have to be honest with ourselves when we take this journey, and it's work. There are things that we probably haven't even looked at, or we've been pushing to the side, have been in the little shadows and the little corners of our beings, and this actually gives us a chance to shine some light on it, right?
Yes,
And it's
absolutely.
awesome. And I love how you actually are working with all ages. Everyone has a different calling, and their
Mhm.
beloveds are different. Um, so I'm intrigued, and I'm looking forward to learning more from you about that, because I'm at the place where I'm just learning how to be in the collective of women on my
Mhm.
personal journey, and where I am as a woman and what's mine to do, and then extending that to young women and teenagers, as well, because of my experiences. So I would love to learn more about how you actually do that. You did mention men, so I
Yes.
honor you for that, because I know that Color of Woman is a teaching and primarily for women.
Mhm.
But intentional creativity itself is not just for women; it's for anyone, any gender that is looking to tap into that inner voice and use this as a modality for healing, their stories, and moving that energy. So it is, inclusive. Just Color of Woman is a program for
For
women
women.
that was created by Shiloh, and that's where we are now. But yes, intentional creativity is for anyone, 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 anyone. And I honor you for holding space for the men in the world that are looking and seeking what you are offering.
And there are a few brave men that will join in, and they typically are really wonderful.
Hmm.
And so it's been neat.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's really awesome. I love to hear a little bit more about the book that you said you did.
Yes, well, it's called the Blessing Book Process,
Blessing book.
and it's actually a process that just is meant to cultivate resilience. And it's a way of working with whatever emotions are coming up, whatever is going on in life. And it's like a little bit like the medicine basket that we do in Color of Woman, in that it gives people tools for working through different things, which of course with the pandemic, there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of
Mhm.
stress. And so we did a lot of different activities that, not only with creating things, but also with body prayers and movement,
Mm.
and just practices that cultivate health and wellness. And it's a wonderful process.
Yes, it is. And intentional creativity is so powerful, because you mentioned movement. So I like that, because I know for those that are watching, or watch this later, we talk about the painting and creativity, and it's not just about a painting, it's about actually incorporating and using all of ourselves, from
Mhm.
mind, heart, body, soul and field and moving, and really moving that energy, using our whole body, not just
Yeah.
making it two-dimensional in the sense of it's just, a paintbrush and a canvas. No, this is using everything that you are and have, from outside to inside, and bringing that. So movement is definitely a really, really big part of the process and intentional creativity. And
Yes, and also that writing of our story and that self agency of, actually rewriting and writing our story and choosing our path. And so we bring in writing and poetry, which is
Mhm.
something I'm very passionate about. And it's truly, it really appeals to every one of our senses and every part of the brain, not only that, part that works with the painting and the creative process, but then that more analytical side as well that draws in the thinking and consciousness.
Yeah, and writing from the perspective of the observer, which makes it
Mhm.
easier for us to actually see the new story,
Mhm.
and not let the critic get into our heads, because we're talking in third person, and dreaming up a different dialogue with ourselves and how we talk to ourselves, right?
Yes, and when we do that, it opens up many, many possibilities that we might not see otherwise. And so that is part of the transformation. That's part of opening to possibilities that are just so valuable. It's
Hmm.
really amazing.
Wow. Wow, you've come a long way on your journey, huh? Like, here you are, and it's just been awesome. How does it feel to know that you saying yes and choosing to say yes to Color of Woman not only changed your life, but it's changing the lives of so many others? Like you mentioned, the two friends who became Color of Women teachers as well.
It's really been wonderful. My work in the world is just really kind of a sacred process for me, and it's been a really powerful journey. And if I can impact other lives in a positive way, then that's very important to me and very meaningful. And so it's been really good, and we're getting ready for those who are considering Color of Woman. I invite you, if you're curious, to really check into it, because it's starting soon and it is the journey of a lifetime. So I really encourage you, if your soul is saying, yes, we got to do this, I want this too, I encourage you to take the leap and go to colorofwoman.com, and you will be blessed just by going to the site. I can tell you that. It's
Hmm.
amazing. There's so much beauty there and so much information, but it's truly the most wonderful, epic journey of a year that you could ever imagine. And so I hope that those who are feeling curious will take the step and go on over there to colorofwoman.com and check it.
I'm loving how you're definitely like getting them in there,
Oh,
and
it's
this
wonderful.
gas is calling them in. I love it.
Well, and too, Milagros. I mean, it's the most wonderful journey, and it really does change your life in the most wonderful way. And
Mm.
the impact will ripple out not only for yourself and your family, your friends, but to people that you have not even met yet. And it will
Mm.
it will continue for many, many years. And so I encourage you to just really take that first step and check into it.
Yeah, yeah, the site is beautiful. And with everything in intentional creativity, everything we create, intentional creativity is just about creating with love and intention.
Mhm.
And even a website, it is a container to hold all of our dreams and desires and what we want to bring into the world. And that is something that, the MUSEA community, we've spent so much time, and there's so much love there that, like you said, Marianne, just going into the site is a blessing. It's
Mhm. It
it's
really is.
so much beauty and love, and attention and intention in that container. And you and we're just so blessed to be in this, in the midst of it.
Mhm.
And it's just wonderful knowing that our decision to say yes has granted us this opportunity to be here together, sharing your story,
Absolutely.
and how, witnessing you and using our content, and that's what it's about. I have my story, you have your story, you're sharing it with us. And every other woman who takes this journey is going to be able to create their own content body of work and um, share it with the world if that's their choice, and it's just a beautiful journey. It's just a beautiful journey.
It really is.
It is. Yeah, so you basically, like, I was going to ask you if there was anything else that you would want to say to anyone listening in and watching. um is there any, let's see, in your painting you spoke about the phoenix, is there anything else that, any other story or tidbit that you might, that maybe now comes to you that you want to share with us about your soul fire?
Well, I think the thing that really came through for me with Soulfire was just stepping into the flow of intentional creativity and really, that crucible where you burn away all the stuff that no longer is working, no longer serving. And one thing I would want everyone to know is, in intentional creativity, it's we create these gorgeous paintings, and they're, that's such a big part of Color of Woman. But there's this whole other part that each painting has its own story. And the paintings, as we paint, we're also writing. And this painting, Soulfire, just really activated my own internal flame. And I taught her in a number of workshops before the pandemic started, because I love to help people to ignite their own flame, and that is part of my work in the world. And this painting for me, that sense of the phoenix rising from the ashes and just igniting the passion for my work in the world, and wanting to impart that to other people. And all of our work is different. It's going to look different. Yours is different than mine is different than Shiloh's and the other teachers that we all know. And the beauty of it is that is awesome, because we bring what our gifts are out into the world. And so it's incredible. And to be able to, you know help other people to ignite their own passions in their own way is a real gift. It's
Oh, wow.
wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love watching your flame. You ignite my soul fire. Being in you is just the brightest. You're one of the brightest women, and your energy is just such a gift to me. And I'm so glad that we are on this journey together.
I feel
Um,
the same way,
yeah.
truly.
Thank you so much for sharing your Color of Woman journey with us, Marianne. And thank you all for joining us today for this interview. This has just been so beautiful. It's just been such an experience. My heart is full. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to go and in the Red Thread Cafe um, on the post, you can definitely ask, and Marianne will, she'll chime in and answer your questions. Also, to learn more about Color of Women training course, as Marianne said, just check out, you know, um, colorofwoman.com, and it opens October 1st. But if you sign up and register by September 3rd, there will be a $1,000 savings and some other goodies. It's 9 months training, and it is led by Shiloh Sophia, but you will also be supported by a beautiful community of Color of Women graduates that will be there, and we'll have a private group for us to share our experiences and be witnessed in. Um, it's just going to be awesome. So if you're on the fence, please check out the site and just let the beauty, get into every fiber of your being. It's going to speak for itself. So thank you for showing up today. Yep. And for being the legendary women you are. And I will see you next week as we continue this series. We will have another guest on. So next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, I will be looking forward to meeting you here for another Living the Legend mini interview. May love be at the center of all choices.
Mm.
Thank you again, Marianne.
Thank you, Milagros. It was such a pleasure. Take
Bye.
care.
You too.